I went to a pretty small high school, which meant you knew everybody. You knew the people in your grade, you knew the teachers, you knew who was dating who, you knew who was always late, and somehow you ended up knowing everyone's business. But the best part were my friends. We weren't some perfect friend group. We were honestly kind of stupid. We'd laugh at the dumbest things, we'd make jokes that probably wouldn't make sense to anyone else. And we'd sometimes hang out every Friday for no reason. Sometimes we'd just sit somewhere and talk for hours. And at the time, I thought that was just normal. I thought we'd always be like that. Then graduation happened, and suddenly everyone started asking the same question: where are you going for college? And that's when it hit me. We're actually leaving. One of my friends is going here, another is going there. Someone is moving to a completely different state. Someone is staying home. And I'm going to college nearby, so I'll still be around. But at first, it didn't seem like a big deal. Because, I mean, we're only going to college. We're not moving to another planet. We can still text, we can still call, we can still hang out, right? At least, that's what I thought. Because then one of your friends actually leaves. And suddenly, it's real. You go from seeing them almost every day to then seeing them through a Snapchat story saying, just moved into my dorm. You go from talking about what you're doing after school to then soon asking, how's college? And they might reply back, it's good. And that's it. You still care about them, and they still care about you, but you're not living the same life anymore. Because they're gonna go meet new people that you've never seen before, and they'll make inside jokes that you aren't a part of. And they're gonna be making memories without you. And you're going to be doing the same thing. But not everyone leaves. Some of us stay, and honestly, that's nice. You used to have a friend who lives like 30 minutes away, and you could just text them, want to get food? And actually see them that night. You could still sit around and laugh about something that happened 3 years ago, but even then, it's different because the friend group isn't complete anymore. Someone's always missing, someone's always busy, someone's 3 hours away, someone has class, and someone has work. Someone might even have a completely different friend group now. And slowly, the group chat gets quieter and quieter and quieter. And then there's just friendships that don't really end. They just fade. You don't have an argument. You don't hate each other. You just stop talking. And at first, it's just, we've both been busy. Then it's, we'll hang soon. And then you'll soon realize it'll be 3 months. And honestly, that's probably the saddest part. Because sometimes there's no moment where you can say, this is where our friendship ended. It just slowly becomes less and less important to you and to them. Until eventually, you'll realize you have just became strangers. And then there'll be friends who change. college gives everyone a lot more freedom. And sometimes people are gonna make the choices you don't agree with. Some of your friends will start drinking, some start smoking, some start partying all the time, and some start hanging around people who probably just aren't the best influences. And maybe you try to talk to them. Maybe you tell them you're worried, but maybe they won't listen. Maybe they don't. Maybe they will. But you'll never know. And that's hard. Because you will always remember who they were. You will remember the person who used to make you laugh in the middle of class. The person you could talk to about anything. The person you grew up with. And now you're watching them become someone you barely recognize. But you can't control someone else's life. At some point, you have to let people make their own choices, even if you don't agree with them. But I think the weirdest part about growing up is realizing that everyone is becoming their own person. When you're in a small high school, it can feel like your entire world is right there. Like, these are your people, this is your school, these are the places you go, and suddenly your world gets bigger. And then when your world's bigger, sometimes the people who used to be your entire world aren't as close anymore. But not because you stopped caring, just because there's more happening in your life. And that's when you start going through your camera roll. You find some random video from 2 years ago. Everyone's laughing. Someone says something stupid. Someone's making a terrible joke. And you just sit there thinking, I miss it. Not necessarily the 4 years of high school. Not the homework. Not waking up early. Not the drama. You miss them. You miss having everyone together. You miss knowing that if you want to see your friends, you could. You miss how simple everything felt. And you realize something kinda sad. You didn't know you were living the good old days until they became the old days. But maybe growing apart isn't always a bad thing. Maybe some friendships are meant to last forever, and maybe some are only meant to last for a certain part of your life. That doesn't make them fake. It doesn't make the memories less important. That person was still your friend. You still laughed together. You still had those late night conversations. You still have memories that nobody can take away from you. And even if you don't talk anymore, they will still be a part of your story. But if you're going through this right now, if you're about to enter college and you're reminiscing on the times where you and your friends just started high school, are in your second year, third year, fourth year, don't spend all of your time thinking about the people you've lost. Just look around. There are still people here. Maybe it's 2 friends instead of 10. Maybe it's someone you never expected to become close with. Maybe it's the friend who stayed nearby. Maybe it's someone you haven't talked to much before. Because your life isn't over because your old friend group has changed. You're just entering a new part of it. And honestly, that's scary. But it's also exciting. We're 17, we're we're 18, we could be going to college at 19. We're not supposed to have everything figured out. We're supposed to change. We're supposed to meet new people. We're supposed to make mistakes. We're supposed to figure out who we are. And maybe that's why this hurts so much. Because we're realizing that growing up means letting go of some things, even when we don't want to. But that doesn't mean you have to let go of everyone. You can't freeze everything at 17, 18, 19. And maybe you shouldn't, because change is how we grow and meet the people we're meant to become. So while your friends are still here, appreciate them. And if someone does leave, be grateful you got to know them at all. Because sometimes the people we miss most are the people we never realized we'd miss. So appreciate people while they're still here. You never know when a memory is being made.